cord. Okay.
And I'm going to mute everyone.
Okay.
That you have to unmute yourself, Chris.
On mute.
You have to unmute yourself.
Oh, unmute?
Yeah.
No, it's not
Oh,
on
no, I
mute.
can hear you. That's good.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
All right, Pierre, are we ready?
Yes.
All right, everybody. We are on live here from Chris's garden in Sonora, California. My name's Tom Spiritbringer. It's great to see all of you. I'm here with Chris Monsano and Elizabeth McAnally and Pierre Theory, our high-tech person. And it's great to see you on this Earthday Weekly. And today we're celebrating our beautiful planet right here, the Earth flag. And we're celebrating our Earth community of beings, which includes us human beings, as well as all plants and animals and minerals and our whole Earth community. So we thank you for being a part of this great celebration today. We had the first Earth Day Weekly global celebration a year ago, tomorrow, April 21st of 2020. So this is actually the second celebration. So I really want to welcome you to this celebration of our planet Earth, of each of us humans on this very difficult time in our human story, as all of us know, especially dealing with the climate crisis, climate justice, and that's kind of the underpinning of our celebration today, is to celebrate the Earth, celebrate the human family, celebrate the whole universe, so that we take care of all of it instead of not loving it and taking care of it. So as we begin today's celebration, I want to remind you that this event is sponsored by the Universe Story Calendar Initiative, because the new days of the week, Universe Day, Milky Way Day, Solar System Day, Sun Day, Moon Day, today's Earth Day, and tomorrow's Humanity Day, are a way that we can all celebrate Earth Day each former Tuesday. So today and each Tuesday, we invite you to celebrate an Earth Day Weekly in some way, like we are today. Whether it's you having a garden, you taking care of flowers, you hiking, you educating your children on the earth systems or the elements of water, soil, fire, whatever it might be. We ask you to celebrate each Tuesday. We've been doing this for 3.5 years now. We've celebrated 181 Earth Day Weeklies, ramping it up from once a year to once a week. So we want you to think today and want to help you get some possibilities and ideas of what you can do at home in your own bioregion, in your yard, and in your area to bring Earth Day Weekly alive for you, so that we can help the planet by becoming who we're meant to be as humans, which are companions of the earth, not destructive people. So it's a great day to celebrate Earth Day Weekly today. And just to go over a little bit of the order, after my introduction and a song at the end, I'll introduce Elizabeth McAnally, and she'll share with us her deep love and authorship of a book about water, the element of water, and how religions have dealt with them, with water throughout time, as well as meditation, Indigenous honoring, and some of her beautiful music. And then we'll go to the owner of this beautiful 365 days a year garden, Chris Monsano, and he is going to give us a tour of the garden, help us to get started thinking about starting your own garden or making your garden even bigger and working with your own bioregion. Then we'll have a little time for questions for any of us, 3 of us. And then we'll close with the same song we're going to sing now, because I know repetition helps me and it probably helps you with a new song. So once again, welcome. This is a celebration. It's a little bit of education maybe, but mostly celebrating our beautiful planet, which includes the Earth community, and humans are a part of the Earth community. We're not separate. We are a part, essential part. So this song, which Pierre is going to put up, Pierre is our IT person for the night. Thank you, Pierre. And he's going to put up the refrain to the tune "This Land Is Your Land" by Woody Guthrie, which we all probably know. And I, as a writer of Earth conscious music, I take popular songs and add lyrics that have meaning for today. And so we're going to sing together. You'll be muted, but please sing at home. The refrain, I don't need it. You can just sing the refrain as I sing it. And then I'm going to sing a verse that you're not going to see, 3 verses, and then we'll go back to singing the refrain, okay? So you won't see the words of the refrain, just listen to the story I tell about the universe, Earth, and humans. So it's to the tune of "This Land Is Your Land." Here we go. Our Earth is your Earth,
Our Earth is my Earth. From Antarctica to the Arctic Circle, from the Amazon rainforest to the Andes mountains, our Earth is one community.
As we begin telling our new story, how from our stars and our galaxies, our sun and its planets, our earth and life, our earth is one community. Here we go.
Our Earth is your Earth, our Earth is my Earth. From Antarctica to the Arctic Circle, from the Amazon rainforest to the Andes mountains, our Earth is one community.
Our Earth community is more than humans. It began with minerals, sea plants, and animals. All beings are essential, loved, and welcomed. Our Earth is one community. Here we go.
Our Earth is your Earth, our Earth is my Earth. From Antarctica to the Arctic Circle, from the Amazon rainforest to the Andes mountains, our Earth is one community.
Very important verse. Because of unconscious industrial choices, we humans are depleting our Earth's resources. Now that we're aware, we're beginning to change. Our Earth is one community. Last time, here we go.
Our Earth is your Earth, our Earth is my Earth. From Antarctica to the Arctic Circle, from the Amazon rainforest to the Andes mountains, our Earth is one community.
3 times. Our Earth is one community. Our Earth is one community. Good job, everybody. Great. Don't you love that song? I do. I do. Not because I wrote the lyrics, but it's just got a good tone talking about the beauty of the universe, beauty of the earth, and the beauty and potential possibilities of our human family. So enough about me. I'd like to introduce my good friend, Elizabeth McAnally, who's been with me and the Universe Story Calendar Initiative since we started it 3.5 years ago. She was part of that first celebration where we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the Universe Story Calendar book by Brian Thomas Swim and Thomas Berry. So it's just my great pleasure and honor to introduce you to her, introduce you to her to you. She's been very involved in getting her PhD, writing a book on the element of water in relation to world religions, and also just her beautiful music that she has in honoring of the indigenous people of our land. So thank you, Elizabeth, and I'll turn it over to you for our continue with the celebration.
Thanks, Tom. I just want to say thank you, Tom, for bringing us together. You're so good at bringing folks together in community to celebrate. And that's what we're doing today. We're celebrating our earth community, our place on the earth. And as Tom mentioned, I'm really, I feel a strong connection with water. So my one tip of how to connect to our earth is to learn how to connect with water, because water flows through our whole earth. And if you can learn to love one thing deeply, you can learn to love all things deeply. And so start learning your watershed, the waters around you, where do they come from, where do they go, and see how your local water connects with our whole global water system. So yeah, and if you're interested in learning more, my book is called Loving Water Across Religions, Contributions to an Integral Water Ethic. So I'd like to take a moment to honor the land that we're on, to honor all of our earth community, including all of our ancestors and all of our future generations. And in particular, I want to honor the indigenous communities who have taken care of the lands that we are a part of, the lands, the waters, all of the animals and plants, ecosystems. And I live in Berkeley, California, and the native tribe here is the Muwekma Ohlone tribe. And I really encourage you to learn more about the people who came before you, living on the land that you're now living on. And if you'd like to learn more, check out a website called Native Land. And it's the first Google result, Native Land. And it's a great resource. It will connect you to the different websites of the indigenous communities that took care of the land that you're now living on. And I just want to say a quick note about how optimistic I am that we have a new Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. It's historic that we now have a Native American woman, the very first Native American to be the Secretary of the Interior. As you might know, the Interior Department has historically oppressed Native Americans. And so it's a really big move that President Biden appointed her as Secretary of the Interior. She said recently that her two biggest priorities are climate change and environmental justice. And so that's, there's a lot of hope there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to share a few songs in celebration of our Earth and Earth Day. And as I share them, I just want you to feel connected to your local place and to our shared Earth community. So I will sing a couple songs and play a couple songs on flute. They're all very short. So the first song is actually a poem by Gary Snyder, the wonderful poet, environmental activist, bioregionalist, who has a big passion for Native American rights as well. And this song is called Magpies Song. It starts like this. 6 a.m., sat down on excavation gravel near Juniper and Desert SP tracks, Interstate 80 not far off. Between trucks, coyotes, maybe 3, howling and yapping from a rise. Magpie on a bough tipped his head and said, "Here in the mine, brother, turquoise blue, I wouldn't fool you. Smell the breeze. It came through all the trees. No need to fear what's ahead. Snow upon the hills west will be there every year. Be at rest, a feather on the ground, the wind sound. Here in the mine, brother, turquoise blue. This next song is a tribute to the Egyptian musician Hamza el-Din. The third song I'd like to share is an African song. The friend who taught it to me, she doesn't know the origin, but we both love it and sing it a lot. And it goes like this. Sisi kamalele, banda bambalele. Sisi kamalele, banda bambalele. Banda bambalenge lenge, banda bambalenge lenge. Banda bambalenge lenge, banda bambalenge lenge. Gonde, gonde kamalayla, oh kamalayla. Gonde, gonde kamalayla, oh kamalayla. Ela, 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 oh kamalayla. Ela, 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 oh kamalayla. Sisi kamalele, banda bambalele. Sisi kamalele, banda bambalele. Banda bambalenge, banda bambalenge, banda bambalenge, banda bambalenge. Gonde, gonde kamalayla, oh kamalayla. Gonde, gonde kamalayla, oh kamalayla. Ela, 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 oh kamalayla. Ela, 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 oh kamalayla. And this final song I'd like to share is a new song I wrote, and it's called Joy. Thank you. Thanks for being here. And Tom, I turn it back to you now.
Wasn't that great, Elizabeth? Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
You're very welcome.
Yes, now you know why we have such a great companionship on these celebrations each year. So thank you so much, Elizabeth. And now we turn over to some more practical ideas of celebrating a garden. And I have the privilege of introducing very, very good friend who I met in 2010 at the farm he was at, which he was celebrating 45 years ago when he started, along with his wife and 5 other people, a farm out here in Calaveras County, California in 1976. I met him in 2010, and I spent 9 years at the same farm that he was at. And he taught me how to garden, when he's going to show you some of the same things he taught me 9 years ago. So, and now we're both here in Sonora and we're gardening together again. So it just brings me so much joy, and it gives me a real sense of working with the earth, with the soil, with our bioregion and beautiful earth community. So I introduced to you Chris Monsano, and he is going to help us by giving us a tour of his 365-day-a-year garden. So Chris, thank you for being here.
Okay, here we are in Sonora, California, and I'm going to go over here to, I laid out on the table, the key thing to beginning a garden is a plan. You have to have a plan. So over here on this table that you see before you, there's seeds. And the seeds, they're all holding down my plan. So I'm going to focus in on a bed here. Bed number 5. I'm looking for bed number 5. Here we go. And bed number 5. Okay. And I'm going to focus in on, I start writing on a chart like this. I break all my beds up into sections A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, however I do it. And then I write down in a place what goes there. There's lettuce, 1015 to 415. There's tomato, 15 to 1015. And there's basil going in the same bed with the tomatoes, 415 to 1015. And then from kale goes in at 1015 back to 415. And that is, then I move from at where I've written it on the bed, I go into a calendar, and I'm going to write down on the calendar, I have a chart. And in this chart, I have all the different vegetables that I grow. And we'll take, let's see here. We'll take pole peas, and they take, there's in-bed spacing. I have that down. I have how many plants per square feet. But basically, I have here whether they go into 1 flat or 2 flats. I also have the number of weeks it takes for them to mature and the number of weeks of harvest. And so then what I do is I take, when I know the date, like I wrote on my chart, 415, that means that I have to count back the number of weeks, both including the harvest period, the weeks to mature, and then the weeks they go in the ground. So I know exactly when, and I write it on the calendar when the plants are going to go into the garden. So that's, you need to take the time to think all of this out. And it's a very important way of using our minds to plan things like this. And then what I do is, after I've gotten the plan done, then I have a greenhouse. And we're going to go take a look in the greenhouse. And the greenhouse is where I start the plants.
So when you walk into the greenhouse, Chris, can I show them the book that you recommend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. I forgot to show the book.
This is the book.
Yes, this book is the basis of, it's a biointensive book by John Jevons, and it's the master plan, those charts that I show you, all that information is in his book. And this book is the basis from which I began over 40 years ago growing vegetables. And I've been using this method for over 40 years. And it's gotten better and better as I go. So, okay, so we're here in the greenhouse, and I'm going to show you, like over here, I have wood flats. I start the seeds in flats. That one that we're looking at is celery. And then over here, I have, you'll see a flat with some lettuce in it. Part of it's missing. I'm going to show you where I put that just a little while ago. Then over here, there is some, I have some spinach that I've got in flats. And then over here, I have, this is zucchini, which is going to go into beds. There's some already in, you'll see. Here are tomatoes, which are going to be going into beds I have very soon. And then next here is carrots. This is a flat of carrots, more tomatoes. And then this is basil. So that basil that I talked about going in with the tomatoes. I combine tomato with basils. It's something I've done for many years. Now, when you talk about a garden, I'm going to flip, let's see here. When you do gardening, one of the things that's important is the energy. There's two, it's the garden is kind of like our heart. I consider the greenhouse part of the heart, and the other part of it is the compost. The compost is the energy coming in. And I will show you over here. Let's see. Right here, this is material that has been ground up. I take all of the material in my yard around me, grass. When I prune trees, I take trees, I prune the trees, anything. And then I'm going to take you to another spot. This is one of the very few machines I use. Actually, I think what I'm going to do before I show you that, I'm going to show you really what you primarily need are very simple tools. Shovels, rakes, digging forks, things like that. It doesn't take a lot of tools to garden. So now I'll show you this one machine that I make use of. It's, I have to go through my backyard here to show you that machine, and you'll see all the different components that go into making compost that I make use of. And I cut the grass in my backyard, and as you will see here, here are different kinds of materials. There's some plant materials, there's leaves, there's grass. It all gets fed into my shredder. I shred it up, and then it goes into that bucket that you saw. That bucket was material that it was shredded up material from leaves and plant material and grass. And then that is going to go into, I have to go back into my garden again. And like I was telling you, as the way I see it is compost is the energy into the garden. And it's really a key. Without, Bill Gates wrote a book on climate. And Bill Gates in the book on climate admits that one of the problems with climate is that in his mind, people need to use nitrogen fertilizers to grow food. He
Chris,
says this is a
your
problem.
hand is
You
on
can't
the-
grow food without
your-
nitrogen fertilizer. Well,
Chris,
it's not true.
Your
you can
hand
grow
is on
food simply
on the
with
camera.
compost. And
There you go.
so let's see here. I need to switch this. And here we are. We're going to move to the compost pile here in the garden. And there we go. Here's the compost pile in the garden. I take the material and I put it into a pile. The way my pile goes is right on the top, you'll see some dirt. That's flat. That's soil from the flats that I grow the seeds in. That goes on the, that's like the first level. That has worms, etc., other things in it. Then I add my plant material. I will put scraps from the kitchen. Then on top of that, I will take that material from the bucket, and that's all ground up, and put it on top. And then soil will go on top of that. And then that gets turned into this. Here's some lettuce here in this bed here. You can see a little bit of lettuce, which I just planted. And over here, this is, I have different crops. And there's, here is, this is garlic here. And over here I have tomatoes, zucchini that I've started. And now what I want to show you is over here in this part of my garden is one of my most favorite plants. These are Italian beans. I call them scalzo beans. They're my grandpa Scalzo's beans. These beans are a magical plant because not only do they, one of the keys to reducing carbon monoxide is the simple process of photosynthesis. So when plants grow, they automatically pull CO2 out of the air and they turn it into plant material, which eventually can become food for us. So these beans then they not only do they transfer CO2, they also fix nitrogen down into the soil. And that's the thing that, a lot of people don't understand. It's by rotating crops that you can then, these will fix nitrogen. What I do is I trade my Italian beans with tomatoes. Tomatoes will later on come in here next year. The Italian beans will have enriched the soil, given it nitrogen that will then feed the tomatoes. So, and this bed at one point, just prior to this coming in, it had kale in it. And this kale, this whole bed was filled with kale. And the way this process works, as soon as, because I have everything all planned out, as soon as the kale came out, Italian beans came right in. I had them started in the greenhouse. They then came into the bed. And so there's no break. You're not sitting, my soil might sit idle for maybe at most, I would say, maybe a week at the most. There's always a crop coming in. And so there's continuous. Oh, well, this what Tom is talking about is these flowers here are beginning to produce. This is the kale, the seed. If you look down, there's little tiny things that are beginning to form the kale. So that's going to be the kale seed. So then here's an example of this bed here. Here's some lettuce. We just had a lettuce bed that was right here, over here. You can see this bed is empty now. And this bed is going to have, going into it, the tomatoes will go into this bed. And we just harvested yesterday, Tom and I, 35 pounds of lettuce, over 100 heads of lettuce, which we took to the food bank that's near us. So the amount of food that I'm able to produce out of this garden, and as you can see over here, I've got some peas. These are bush peas. And then over here, I've got some more zucchini. I rotate different crops go into different sections of the bed. And over here I have, these are winter peas, which are now getting ready to finish. They're gonna come out, and then some zucchini is gonna go in there. After the peas come out, more zucchini will go in there. They will have enriched the soil, so they will help produce the zucchini. I have more peas over here. These are a pole pea. I like the pole peas, and like my Italian beans, they both grow tall. And that means that they're going to put out a lot of leaves, which is going to be pulling out that CO2 out of the air. And then they're both, peas and beans, fix nitrogen down into the soil. And here is a bed of Chinese cabbage. So I have all these different crops, and they're continually going. If I move over here, you can see I have, starting here is, I've got, this is one of my primary beds. It's got berries in it. It's blackberries. And then I also am starting some different kinds of crops in it too, to go along with that. And then I have kale over here, and chard. I have chard here, and then next to the chard, I have more of the garlic. So things are continually going in and coming out. There's continually food being produced. Over this winter, I produced out of the garden 150 pounds of food that came out of this garden from 10:15 to 4:15. And so that's, okay, that's what you can do. It's amazing. You're doing two things when it's a win-win situation, because you're growing food, you're removing CO2 and growing food. The state of California uses 600,000 tons of nitrogen fertilizer per year to grow food. And 1% of that escapes as nitrous oxide, and 1 pound of nitrous oxide equals 265 to 299 pounds of the CO2 gas. So it's the equivalent. So it has a dramatic impact on the environment. So if we were to all begin growing our food much more simply, we could make a radical change in what is going on environmentally. So that's my garden tour and a few thoughts. So I'll turn it back to Tom now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chris. Oh my gosh. I hope everybody's going to start their gardens tomorrow. And you can also contact one of us, and we can get you that book, if the information on the book, Growing Your Own Food by John Jevons. So now is the time for some questions from you folks out there in the audience watching, for either Chris or Elizabeth or myself. And Pierre's gonna handle that part of it. So just raise your hand. I think Pierre, is that all right, Pierre? If you just raise your hand, or?
Yes, or, oh, I see Jody wants to ask a question. Go ahead, Jody. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Your voice and your music is just,
I did something.
Beautiful. It's touching. Thank you so much. Where can I get your book on water?
Well, it's published with Orbis. Orbis
We're having
Press.
some technical difficulty.
And so if you want, you can buy it from the publisher, Orbis. But it's also available on Amazon as, a hard copy, but also a Kindle book. And so probably other local bookstores as well.
Oh, okay. And when did you put it out? What's the copyright?
2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
Wonderful.
go.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can't hear anything.
Well, you have to unmute. Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Chris. Can you hear me, Chris?
We're not hearing.
Can you hear me?
We can't hear the questions.
Okay, so my question is for you. I want to know, how big is your garden? That's my question. Can you hear me now? How big is your garden?
We're having trouble, Pierre. We're not hearing.
Okay, so maybe I will put a chat for you so that we can you can read the chat.
Terry's been to his garden. There may be other people on this call that have been there that could answer that question. I think he's got 8 beds, right?
I don't know why.
Okay, so
I think
we couldn't hear. We had shut off somehow.
can you hear us? Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now we lost connection.
My question to you, Chris, is how big is your garden?
It's
How many beds?
1,500 square feet, including my fruit trees.
How many?
And it produces, it's 700, roughly around 700 square feet of bed space. And I'm removing 157 pounds of CO2 from the air per year.
Wow, this is so impressive. So impressive.
So I didn't hear any questions because we somehow got muted or something.
Okay, Chris, there was a question for Elizabeth. She gave some information about how to get her book to Jody.
Oh,
And
okay.
maybe, and then I had a question for you. So let's see if there are more questions from the audience.
Okay.
what's your favorite manure and source of manure, Chris? Montesano, not Monsanto.
That's right. It is, I've used goat manure in the past because I had goats. Right now, I don't use any manure at all. I just simply use all the materials I grind up. That's the, it's the compost that I make.
Wow.
Yeah. So the compost is the manure, you would say. So other than that, I don't use anything else.
Just whatever's in the garden, whatever's in
Yeah.
the garden.
Yeah, it's whatever I have growing around me that I grind up or, put into the compost pile, including food scraps. So that's what produces the food.
You don't get anything from outside of the yard.
Yeah. Tom is saying, what?
What about soil? Where have you built that soil up entirely out of Sonora dirt?
Yes. Actually, this is the 10th year I've been gardening here in these beds. And every year they get better. And when I gardened at the farm in Calaveras, that was, I've always used soil that is not prime agricultural land. It's just, and I've done it by composting. Now at the farm in Calaveras, we used to have goats and, we had pigs and other animals, and we had rabbits at one time and different things. So we would have those other materials. But here, I use only the materials that are around me, my prunings from the garden, etc.
Very good. It's very inspiring. I want to learn how to do this.
And Chris,
I got the book today, so
All right.
I think Chris would be willing to give anybody a tour and help you get your garden growing if you're local.
Yes, that's true.
And do you run drip irrigation through there? How do you deliver water?
I do. Right now, I'm watering by hand, but as summer comes, I put in a drip system. I use a T-tape drip irrigation. That's what I used to use at the farm. I can actually show you. See, here's right here. Here's my the manifold for my T-tape. Right here. These are the manifold. This whole thing is a manifold. I lay it down, and then I put there's 4 pieces of T-tape that go into each bed, and I run that the length of the bed, and then that's what waters it in the summer. And I put it on a timer, and then it turns on. You know, I run it for an hour in the morning, and sometimes depending on temperature. When the temperature starts to exceed 100 degrees, well, actually, when it starts exceeding 90 plus, then I will water morning and evening with the drip tape. And I do it according to how severe the weather gets. And sometimes I will also have to put up a shade cloth to protect the plants when it gets really hot.
wow, this is really good.
Last summer, I produced 443 pounds of fruit and vegetables from this garden. My total for the year is close to, with last summer combined with this winter, from 10:15 to 4:15, I'm going to have a total of I got around 150 pounds. So it's close to 600 pounds between the two.
I can't wait for the nectarines every year.
And these are not raised beds. They're right in they're just soil level.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, they are soil level. At the farm, we did beds in the ground. Some we had wood around, and that was because we had a gopher problem. We put in we had to put in mesh to keep the gophers out.
I see.
Well, you got some advantages to being in Sonora, don't you? The deer and the gophers are sort of outside city limits.
You're fencing up.
Well, I do have to. I'm right in downtown Sonora, and I do have to deer fence. I have a deer fence up around my garden. I literally had deer come down from my backyard, jump into my garden, and start eating my beans one time. And then I realized I've got a fence, so I fenced them out. And I often see them when I walk in the morning. I'll see deer around.
Wow.
All right. Well, we're getting
your
close.
turn now, yeah.
We're getting close to the hour, unless someone has got one last burning question.
I think Terry has a question.
Oh, okay.
Can you unmute yourself, Terry?
Terry, you're muted. You're muted, Terry. You have to unmute yourself.
Wiggle the arrow at the bottom of the screen on the left side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah,
There
there
you
it is.
go.
Hey, Terry.
Okay, Terry. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How long does it take for the compost to mature?
About 6 months. I do a slow composting. Some people do fast composting, but you lose some of the nutrients with the fast composting.
Oh,
And so, you know, it,
Compost faster in the summer.
it composts faster in the summer than in the winter.
Okay.
you don't cover it at all, huh? To increase the
Well,
heat compost?
I do. I actually have some compost out here. I should show everybody this. This is the actual compost when it's done. You can see here, here's a big pile of it.
Nice.
And it's that's from what matured at the beginning of let's see, maybe this is probably, we took it out about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that from the pile. And what I do is I continually keep piling it on the pile, and then I pull off the top of the pile and go down to the bottom of the pile and remove what's composted and turned into soil.
Yeah. Chris, we've got a lot of oak leaf mold all over the hill here, lots really deep. Do you think that's good to put in compost, or is there anything about oak leaf mold that would, it's very already composted, basically. It's years and years old.
I don't think there would be a problem with that. No.
Except oak leaves are allopathic, which means they kill everything around underneath their feet.
Oh, well, that wouldn't be good in the garden.
Sure, with compost.
Well, that's why there's no grass around oak trees.
Yeah, it's hard to plant around oak trees. That's true. I wonder if that's true of the leaves. Huh. Well, I have to do some research on that one, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know about, I just mix everything. I think what I'm doing is mixing everything that's around in the yard. And so it's all mixed together. And I think that's what balances the soil, mixing all the different, I do have some oak leaves in my material. I do have some sycamore leaves. I have, leaves from my fruit trees, etc. And then I take clippings, when I prune the branches, whatever, bushes, etc., and grind that up. So it's a mixture of a lot of things. Like if I prune the roses or anything like that, it all goes into the compost.
Okay.
All right, everybody. I think we're going to go to our closing here. So, Chris, if you want to.
Okay. That's okay.
Go horizontal, I guess.
So wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Trying to.
Am I on, Peter?
No, you're.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
You're on. Okay, now.
Yeah.
I just want to say on behalf of Pierre, thank you, Pierre. To Elizabeth, it was such a beautiful meditation. Wow, I was in tears myself. Chris, for your 40 plus years of gardening and for all of your support of the Universe Story Calendar Initiative. You can go to the universestorycalendar.org if you want to read the book I wrote, get a calendar, other things. So please go there if you want. And we'll look forward to our next gathering. I just want to mention there are, celebrations on Earth Day on Thursday. President Biden has got an international Earth Day celebration. Earthday.org is doing a day-long thing, starts at 9:00 Pacific time. Look up earthday.org for that. And many other things if you just Google Earth Day the next 3 days or so. So I just want to once again thank everybody for this live presentation. It was really a lot of fun to prepare, and hope that you have a wonderful spring and summer, or fall and winter if you're down under in the Southern Hemisphere, and just keep loving our beautiful planet. And so we're going to end with singing that refrain of "Our Earth is Your Earth" twice, as we say we'll see you next time, and love the earth. So let me know, Chris, when it's up.
Okay, it's not up yet.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay,
All
It's
right,
up.
everybody.
Should we mute?
Oh, let's sing together. Let's sing together.
All right, let's try a cacophony.
Our earth is your
your earth. Our earth is
my
earth.
Antarctica,
Antarctica,
To the Arctic
Circle,
from the
Amazon rain.
forest to the Andes Mountains.
our earth.
Earth is one
One more time.
community.
Our earth is yours.
Is yours. Earth is
From
one.
Antarctica to the circle,
from the
Amazon
forest
Amazon
to the
rainforest to the Andes Mountains.
our
Our
earth.
earth
is
is one community.
Very
Give
nice.
us a hand, everybody. Woo.
Thank you.
Happy Earthday Weekly, everybody.
Thank
Alright.
you.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.